Today's gospel is kind of a hard one. It's difficult to understand, but we're going to try to make sense of it. We're going to try to make sense of it. Back in the time of Jesus, there were people expecting a Savior. They were expecting a great Savior to come and save them from everything. But they expected this Savior not necessarily to be a Savior who looked like Jesus. They didn't think that he would be peaceful and come as a baby in a manger in Bethlehem. They thought he was going to come as a great king on a throne with power and might, that he would literally be like the president, like the government ruler, the king, and that he would take out all of their enemies and get rid of them, and then they would be okay. But that wasn't quite what Jesus was, right? Does everybody here want to be happy? Yeah? Everybody wants to be happy, right? Can we all agree that our day is way better when we're happy than when we're sad? Our day is way better when we're happy. Our life is way better when we're happy. But another word we use for happiness is this word that's called fulfillment, which fulfillment's kind of a cool word because it kind of means the opposite of the word. Fulfillment comes when we are filled full, right? When we are filled full of God's love, of God's grace, of peace. And there's this book called The Happiness Equation. It's kind of about how happiness works in a math problem, right? Like if you add this together plus this minus this, you become happy, right? Does that make sense? Which is kind of hard because it's not perfect. It's not perfect ever to figure out how to become happy. Sometimes we think we're going to be happy and we're not, and we add this in and it doesn't make us happy, and we take this away and it does make us happy. So it's hard, but it's this guy who loves math and wanted to figure out what actually makes people happy. And it was a very simple equation. It was two things. So he says, take the reality of what comes in your life minus what you expect to happen, and then you'll end up with your total happiness. And I think this gospel kind of makes me think of that. Think about all the times where you've expected something really great in your life, like you expect this trip to be amazing, or this is going to be the best day ever, or even just with food, like this food is going to be so delicious, and then you bite into it, or you go on that trip, or you get that thing, and it's like, oh, this wasn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. Then you're not as happy, right? You're not as happy because you had this great expectation. But then on the other side, think about this. Think about some time where you're like, I have no expectations. I don't expect anything to happen today. And I just had the best day ever. Like I went to school and there were a lot of surprises and cool things happened. And I got a present from somebody that I didn't expect. Then you're super happy, right? Then you're super happy because your expectations were completely low. Well, in today's gospel, that's kind of what the problem is, right? The people expected one type of Savior. They expected him to be this great king and ruler who would take out all their enemies. Instead, he comes as this man named Jesus Christ, who's seemingly weak on the cross, seemingly weak as a baby in Bethlehem, and yet is the one who is going to be powerful and to save them. So I especially want you to think of this in regard to Christmas, right? I think this is really easy for us to all think of. You expect that maybe you'll get something good from Santa this year. You probably wrote a Christmas list. You probably wrote him a letter asking him for certain things, and you're hoping you'll get it. And sometimes, probably most times, most Christmases, we don't get everything on our list, do we? But if we get some of the best things we expect to get, we have a happy Christmas. But sometimes we get stuff that we didn't even write down on our list that's way better than anything we could have imagined, right? Sometimes we get surprised. Well, I want us to do that with Jesus this year too. Right? So this is Advent, and we continue to prepare for him to come and ask him for something for Christmas. So today when you receive communion, today when you go to Mass, ask the Lord for something for Christmas. Ask Him for a present. And then be open to being surprised by the Lord. Because maybe He doesn't come like we expect Him to, but He always surprises us. He always gives us gifts. He always fulfills our expectations. So let us be patient as the Lord comes. Ask Him for those things and expect great things.